Aloha Kohala. It's 3 o'clock on December 14th, 2023. You're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. This is Intuitive Talk Story with EILA Allgood and
Michal Anna.
And we're happy to be here with you today in this December, getting near the end of the year.
It's I'm like, what day is it? The 13th. Yesterday was 12/12.
I like those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some say it was a portal day. I think all numbers are portals.
I think every day is a portal day, if you want it to be.
Every day
is
an
movie.
Opportunity to grow, to expand, to embody something you'd like to embody, and to be more of our true, authentic selves. And yeah, there's a lot up in the ethers. There's a lot going on at this time. Wow, as there always is at the end of a year. Of course, we have that normal end of year wrap up, holiday, and all of that, family, and also, a difficult time at such for a lot of people too. The holidays can be difficult as much as they can be celebratory. And with all that kind of normal stuff going on, we've also have, on top of that, we have all this really big shift opportunities that have been rolling through this entire year for us to discard and release density and move into greater harmony with where we want to be going and choosing love and peeling away our programming and our emotional wounding, as many of you who are listening are committed to doing on the path of unity, committed to creating a better place for all of us to exist within as we vibrate this template upward and vibrate the earth into a frequency which is conducive for creativity, growth, cooperation, learning, love, expansion.
Yummy. Yeah. So spiraling up, that's part of what we're doing, and we're doing it whether we're conscious of it or not. And you mentioned density, and I was thinking about that, feeling about that the other day, how third dimension, third density, people use them interchangeable. And I feel they do that because it is denser. Third dimension is more dense than the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, the first dimension. Each is different. So if you hear that terminology, dimension versus density, it's pretty much the same thing, just phrasing it in different ways. And density makes actually more sense. Like my third dimensional brain can wrap itself around third density, fifth density, maybe a little bit easier than dimension. It seems so abstract.
So that makes it seem more concrete, more tangible.
Logical in this,
tangible,
where my brain is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can describe density and actually feel it.
Yeah.
We can kind of feel into density. So, a great way, that's how we've talked about the vibratory frequencies and moving up that vibratory ladder as we move at a lower density and vibrations and frequencies. So they're all kind of a similar thing there. And so those lower emotions, which really are like, I'm really hate myself or not feeling good about myself or feeling in shame or angst, I'm going to be in lower density frequencies, these 200 to 3 energies. As I move up the frequency ladder, that 300, right? You start to get into your 3D, your will, you're kind of like you're moving into that, but we still, to get into the fifth dimensional or 5 density, as EILA was just saying, we have to move into these higher emotions, higher frequencies, and they actually cease to be emotions, they're vibrations. So love as an energy, not as an emotion. Which is a big difference.
There is a difference. I think in the English language, we use one word to say an awful lot of things. So,
right. Whereas if you kind of break apart love, let's see if I can remember all of the aspects of like agape love, eros love, which are different types of love. That real, unconditional spirit love, or is it a romantic love? Is it a family love? So there's lots of different love of a friend, love of a neighbor. We have all sorts of different
love of chocolate.
Love of chocolate. Yeah, we have all sorts of different loves, and we do use that word rather
loosely. Yes.
Yeah. So you can apply your own meaning there. But when we say the energy and vibration of love, that really is referring to a field of unity. And this field of unity, you could describe it more as a place of no judgment, a place of like, yeah, wow, more like excitement, curiosity, because everything is one thing. And in that, so like I look at EILA and go, oh, well, I mean, we're not the same at all. And yet I go, oh God, I'm just fascinated by whatever. Tell me a story. I mean, I just want to learn what the eyes of God see through you. See, like, because everything is the eyes of God having an experience right now on the leading edge of experience. We're literally all on this leading edge, and we are each a facet of the infinite having this miraculous experience. So it's kind of like everyone is, if we see everyone as just another aspect of the infinite, it's just really exciting to have any contact with any of them.
That's right. And and that's where curiosity comes in for me. Like to be more curious, especially when someone moves through the world very different than I do, rather than judgy or just like, I'm going to stay away from that person because they're strange or they're not like me. But rather to go to that place of curiosity, like, wow, I wonder what makes her tick. Like,
and we can see, like, when those places, if you feel yourself try to be curious and you go, oh, instead something comes up, usually the reason someone can't get to curiosity is because something hits something on the personal level. Like it hits my own, well, I should be doing more. I should have really, gosh, I should really get my stuff together. Maybe I should do this. I might have some attachment or judgment on myself. If I'm in a judgy place, it's because I'm judging myself.
Right.
And I think I should be doing something better and I'm not good enough. And that's still me activating and I'm not good enough or some sort of program. So those are like great like ways to, if I can't get into curiosity, maybe there's an emotional wounding I need to take a look at, draw into that and get my peace. Back to we're on this game of retrieving our pieces, through this earth, biological, organic life, earth system. We are learning our lessons and understanding ourselves, and we're gathering the fragmented pieces of ourselves that we scattered when we were wounded. When something happens to us, and we lose a piece. So that's what we're doing. And as we pick up those pieces and spiral up to that next place, and then we do the same thing, pick up pieces, spiral up. It's kind of this ever expanding journey. But one thing that we want to note that Isla and I are both talking about earlier is, I don't know if you're feeling it out there, but when I said that biological, organic life, really mean the emphasis there, because the inorganic, artificial, intelligent energies are really skyrocketing and really reaching in at all levels of our lives at this point. And I feel it's critical to mention it and critical for us to pay more attention to what is happening. As an energy worker and seeing things with clients, I'm seeing a lot of hookups to devices, artificial energies.
So let's slow it down, because there's a lot there, and although that's your language, someone else may not quite understand. So I'm gonna play the other person who doesn't quite understand. As you talk about, as we mention AI and artificial, and being on the computer and being on the phone and all the energy that's going through us all the time with Wi-Fi and whatnot. Just break it down to one thing that you've noticed in your work with people.
The first thing we can talk about is we are electromagnetic beings.
Right.
We are electromagnetic. We are life source energy. So in essence, we're batteries, we're energy. So all these electromagnetic frequencies that are being put into our air, into our field, the towers, the cell phone towers, the continual input of frequency boxes being put in all over is a concern to all biological life. I was just reading an email from an organization here in Hawaii talking about what's affecting the birds of Kauai and Maui. And they were talking about transmitters that were put on some of the birds. The 3 birds that managed to get that transmitter off their foot survived. All the other ones died. These electromagnetic frequencies that are being transmitted are not beneficial to life force, and they are indeed affecting us. I see all sorts of things in my work, but I also feel all sorts of things my own self, right? Just the frequencies, you can feel the impact it has on your own body. And just to give you an opportunity to say something there first.
Yeah, and to be aware of it without being afraid of it. You're aware of it, and then what can you do about it? You don't sleep with the phone next to you. You don't sleep with the computer going. You create an environment for yourself that has less of that. We cannot necessarily take the Wi-Fi out of the air because that's, the cell service and all that. But we can do things within our home, and then we can use shungite and other gems to protect ourselves. And there's a lot you can do.
Well, and I want to, I agree with all of that. And I think it's kind of a little bit of both, because we need to do our own personal protection. And that's really what kind of the whole basis of my teachings is: tools, energetic tools of empowerment, so that you can manage your energy, knowing where you're existing in. So when you realize we are existing in an energetic game, there is all these frequencies, dimensions, this is what's really going on. That's why I teach energetic tools, because we are existing in this framework. So yes, we can't change everything out there, although we do have an impact. So we have an impact with our thoughts, what I'm thinking, and go, oh no, they're going to put up that thing. If I'm actually helping create it if I'm saying that. Right. So I want to just create that nothing is going to exist here to impact my life that is of a nefarious nature. That first and foremost, I have that belief system rolling. It's not to say I'm sticking my head in my ground. I'm putting out there what it is you'd like to have happen. And then, as if we have opportunity, if someone sends you an email and it says, hey, cell tower going in, can you please say no? Well, then you actually click yes on that thing, and you do something with that, and you take an action towards what it is you're wanting. Because really, kind of when you make the intention, the things show up. They'll just kind of show up to take action. Oh, I was just thinking about that.
Right.
And here's now the opportunity for me to do something. If I ignore that, now I'm not really being in alignment with what I've put forth. So I do have to be in awareness and pay attention, and now do some action steps to help create that reality. And then I
wanted to add to that, which is sometimes speaking up about these things with the people that you interact with. A lot of people just don't think about it.
Yeah, we don't know.
So
we can't keep up with everything.
If you share with someone, like I make sure my phone is never on 5G. I don't want that wherever I go in the world. And I make sure that other people know that about me and my phone. If they want to talk about it, we can talk about it. If they don't want to talk about it, maybe they'll go do a search and find out why did she want to do that. But it can create conversation where other people get aware of something maybe they weren't before. And also, I'm talking about it, but I'm also listening. I'm listening to what you say. I'm listening to someone bring something up. I had never heard that before. Let's explore that.
And the phones, so it is about managing these things. And one thing we talk about is putting a phone or a computer, before you use it, you just kind of put it in a golden orb of light. You are that powerful to just visualize it in light, and that it's a portal, and that anything can't come through it. First off, do that. I had a client that she's the one who even said, oh, I know exactly how that hooked up. We saw a number of hookups in the head. It was like she had a helmet on her head with a ton of wires connected to it. That's what it looked like. And she said, oh, it's because I was wearing the earbuds, the airless earbuds. I had them in my ear all night last night. And it literally connected her like a helmet.
Wow.
So see, we have to be more aware. I personally wouldn't wear those myself. I wouldn't suggest wearing them. I would suggest putting your thing on speaker, having, they now make some AirPod buds that have air about, 10 inches down. So the radiation is a foot away from your body still. They have those kind of things, different technologies. And really, is it that important to be on the phone all the time? I know we want to listen to music too and all these kind of things, but this is why breaking agreement. So this kind of is why I talk about breaking agreements with everything, because we agree to things when we put those things in our ears.
Mm-hmm.
We agree to stuff unknowingly.
Mm-hmm.
And so that comes into severing those contracts, agreements, promises, oaths with anything. And you can do that at any time just by speaking it, intentionalizing it, and using your breath and seeing it done.
You brought up, for us to visualize what we want in relationship to this. And because we're coming to the end of the year and a new year, this is a time for all of us to be visualizing the new world that we want. And it may start just your day-to-day world. And yeah, I'll close that. It could just be this moment, this week, and what you want to visualize. And then there's also the bigger picture. What kind of world do you want to live in? Rather than focusing so much on what's going on out there that scares you or worries you, or, oh, I hope that doesn't happen. Forget about I hope that doesn't happen. It's, what do I want to see created? Okay, I see that's going on over there. Okay, what do I want to see created in this
Right.
world?
And it's back to that analogy that we talk about a lot, which is we look at the house, we want to see if there's a hole in the wall. We don't want to be ignorant of any problems. We don't want leakage in our roof. We want to know what we need to address. And that's kind of all this. When you look at the worldscape, think of it more like you're just checking the house. You just want to know the conditions you're dealing with. What is the environment? What do we got? What are we working with? Everything looks good. Or, yeah, there's a pink elephant in the room. We just know the pink elephant's there, and then you deal appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
It's so that you can manage things and know what you're dealing with, so you're not taken off guard, you're not in surprise, you're not in shock. We're not surprised when things go certain ways. We have tools to then meet it, because as we often know, we can't really have no effect on really what's going to happen, but how we deal with what happens is
Right.
often our opportunity.
Right. We can't control everything.
Yeah.
And it's really seeing what happens and having the tools to deal with that. And personally, I love surprise. So I hope I still am surprised.
Right.
The surprise part is fine, whether it's something wonderful or less than wonderful. And then it's like, how do I work with the surprise now? Oh, wow, I didn't know that was going to happen. Okay, what can
I
I
guess
do?
there's no way to get around being surprised to an extent, because we never know. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen on any level. It's just a grand mystery. So
It sure is.
it's I guess, but if it's being unattached to the surprise, like
Yeah.
just knowing that's what it is.
Well, and also what comes up for me around the word surprise is control. And if we recognize, we can't control everything. We may not
Yeah.
control much of anything,
Right.
but
Everything and nothing all at once.
before we were talking about judging. When we judge other people, we judge ourselves because we're judging ourselves. And I know I've brought this up before, and there's a line there for me about judging somebody or something. I see that over there, and I'm like, oh, that's terrible. Why are they doing that sort of thing? And then suppressing it, saying, oh, I shouldn't judge. I know better than that. What am I doing that for? And then going to the next step, which is, what am I doing that for?
Mm-hmm.
Is there something in me that's triggered with that? What is that? Rather than making me wrong for having that moment, it's let it inform me.
Yeah, and that one that you just said to me, like I can feel where that may have come from back in my life when I was, and it usually came from me from like a place of like you're supposed to do something, and why aren't they should be doing what they're supposed to do? I have to do what I'm supposed to do.
Oh, especially as kids, right?
Yeah, like
I have to wash the dishes. How come he didn't take out the trash yet?
Yeah, and so almost like a sense of fairness, or like we're all supposed to do the things we're supposed to do, kind of thing, or how come he doesn't have to do what he is supposed to do, or so seeing where those things came from, and then being able to move into a place of neutrality, which is really by meeting our own place where we got mixed up with that feeling, right? Of feeling like, oh, I wasn't seen, or I wasn't valued, or I wasn't get enough, right? Moving through that. And then you get to move into a different framework. And that allows us freedom.
Yeah. And also going to appreciation and gratitude, which you were talking about the chart, which I was just looking at the other day. I think I posted it on Facebook. Where shame and guilt are low frequencies.
The
and,
shame.
anytime we're experiencing any of those lower vibrational emotions, to go to gratitude. Where is the gratitude? Where can I find gratitude in this moment? Because it helps us go up.
And that brings up kind of like what you were just saying about seeing somebody else do something. So it's not necessarily, there's not right or wrong to be in a negative emotion or to have an experience of shame or this or the other. I have experienced all of the gamut of all those things, and they were part of my growth and my experience in moving forward. So we don't know why someone is where they are either. We don't know what they're learning and what karma, what they've drawn in, we're all creating a movie to experience a lesson. We don't know where in their movie they are. We don't know the journey. It's not our journey. We're all on our own unique path. So that's a real easy, critical way to go, right? I mean, we're just all in this game. If you see it like, if you were to close your eyes and open your eyes and you're somewhere else, like, hey, how was the Earth game? It's like, oh, that's right. I'm only in the game. So all these individuals are all having their very own experience, and they have their own playboard, their own score, the whole gig. We don't know where they are in the game, what level they're on, nothing.
Right. All right. And it's not a competition.
No.
We're in a world where competition is a big part of the societies that we live in, and this is not what this life is about.
No, so where I'm speaking from is nothing to do with competition.
No, I didn't think so.
Yeah, I'm speaking of it from a place of like just understanding that you're like all different players are playing for themselves. Like everyone's just in their own journey, experiencing their experience for themselves. And so when you understand that, it's like my experience and their experience, we're just touching for a brief moment. I'm learning something, they're learning something, whatever that exchange is meant to be. But I'm in control of my experience, and they may not understand anything that I'm experiencing because it doesn't make any sense to them because it's not part of their journey and it's not what they need to learn.
Right.
So we're all just totally in our own experience. And I realize, I live so far apart from the competition model in my daily life, so it feels so far away. But I do realize that people, I guess, in the cities are still, or in a lot of places, are still navigating.
Well, I just think of sports because
model.
I'm a sports kind of person, and I love sports, and I love to play games. And I've been accused of being very competitive, and I am. I'm competitive with me. I want to do my best.
That's how I am too.
So if we're playing Scrabble,
I like to win too.
Yeah, and you win, but I gave it my best, and that's okay with me.
So I'm like that. Like if we played a game, which we haven't, but we should. If we played a game, I would be just as like, oh, I'm going to beat you, EILA.
Yes.
But I'm not attached.
Yeah.
I just like to do my best because it's fun to be my best.
Right.
Like I dance hard, I skate hard, I do everything like as full throttle because I kind of like to live 100%, period. Like why do anything if I'm not going to do it 100%? But it's not personal to you, and I'm not competing with you.
Right.
I'm just doing it for me. So it has no competition involved at all.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that, especially.
So actually, I'm going to say you're not competitive. So I would stop labeling yourself that, because I don't think of myself as being competitive. I think of myself as striving to be my best self.
Yes.
And if my best self is pretty awesome, well, that's great.
Right.
Cool. And if your best self is pretty awesome, that's cool too. I'm not in competition with you being your best self. I can be my best self, and so can you, and we can both be bad.
Yes. And when I am engaged in some sport where we're keeping score, so we know who's getting the better whatever, I often focus energy on the other people to be at their best, because when we're all at our best is when the game is the most fun and the most challenging and the most meaningful, and I get the most growth.
Yes.
Not when it's like, oh, I won that,
they didn't hit it.
They missed every shot,
Yeah,
so
that's
I
not
won.
fun.
It's like, oh, yeah,
I feel
no.
like I didn't work for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want a good game.
Yeah.
That's what Earth is. We want a good game.
We want a
So
good
if
game.
you want a good game, you got to kind of put 100% in. I mean, why even go play pickleball if you're just going to be like, I don't want to.
Right.
If you're just going to give it 50%, it's like if you're going to go play the game, play it 100% or stay home.
And do your best, which
Go
isn't
big or go home.
which
No.
isn't the best. Like my best at pickleball
Is
might not
the
be
same.
your best
no,
at pickleball.
you're going to kick my butt at pickleball,
and
honestly.
somebody else's right, and someone else is going to kick my butt, and
Exactly.
and it's all good.
And that's great.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. I'd be stoked.
That would be fun.
Right?
It's like champion one another just to be your best.
And that's how it is with dance. I mean, like, we're all a team. Like, we train together. You're encouraged by me getting lower. You want to get lower. And I see your
Yes.
arm go, but I'm going to get my arm bigger. Not because I'm trying to be better than you, but because I'm like, oh, yeah, I want to do it that good, too.
Yeah.
I want to play that good. I
Yeah.
want to feel that. I'm going to be
I
want
wanna try that move, yeah.
I can do that. It's more about empowering each other to be the best we can. And that's a huge, huge shift for most people in this culture, for sure. And the other part of that shift, which we touched on a little bit, but we were talking about emotions and then kindness. So telling the truth with people, like being authentic, showing up authentically, means you get to be in your truth, in your power. That doesn't mean... A lot of people seem to equate, I don't know, it's come up a few times, like, oh, I couldn't say anything. I wouldn't want to be mean. And I thought to myself, well, why would you need to be mean to tell the truth? I don't understand.
Yeah.
You could just be nice and tell someone what you think.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be hurtful. So that's a really...
Well, and I think there are truths that are spoken that we can't control how someone else is going to hear it or receive it. What's important is how we present it and our intention behind the presentation, mindful of our tone, mindful of our words, depending on what it is. If it's a hard truth, you don't want to just go blasting it out there. You kind of, I think it's my responsibility to think about how do I want to say that. It doesn't mean that the person's not going to get upset or whatever, but I know that I've done the best I can in presenting this truth, that's my truth, and then I send it with love and let it go. And the love, I think, is really important too. That truth is spoken with love, not with judgment, not with you shouldn't have been that way or done that thing or.
So that's an important what you just said. So, like, let's say you were having a feeling of judgment, like you said, oh, what are those people doing over there? But let's say it's your family or it's something that involves you. So if you're feeling some judgment, you'd first want to get out of that judgment, like do your own research into yourself. Why am I feeling that judgment? Feel that, get your emotional peace and release that energy so you can walk into a neutral place, be in zero. And now I can say to, like, hey, I could then actually have a conversation and be truthful and maybe say, hey, I don't really think I'm just observing because I care about you and love you, that maybe that's not the best place to put your, I don't know, your washer and dryer. I don't know what's going on. I can't think of a great example right now. But, whatever you're trying to explain to someone, back to what EILA was saying, it's delivery.
Well, it could be, I think one of the biggest things that we're careful about saying to other people is when we see them in relationships that maybe aren't serving, that we observe that this doesn't look like it's good for that person. Now, it could be, it's through my eyes that I'm seeing that, but is there a way for me to say that to that person? That this is my opinion, this is what I feel, without either making them wrong or making them feel like now they can't talk to me about that person anymore because I've expressed this. I think that's a really big thing with family and friends is, well, I'm not going to tell you that I'm still going out with him if you're going to be like that.
Right, and then they tend to hide
They shut it down.
Well, and I think on the flip side of that, I've kind of asked my family at different times in my life, I said, tell me what you really think. I want to hear what you really think.
Yeah.
And I don't but this comes back to I talk about unattached and amused.
Yeah.
If you live on a foundation of unattached and amused, you start there. Then you ask somebody the question.
Yeah.
You can actually hear it and get the feedback. Because what I do is I tack like back to what I told you. I'm on the house. Like I'm going to check all the holes. I want to know what you think because I'm going to check it against what I think and see if I missed anything.
Yeah.
If you bring up something that I haven't already thought of,
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, oh, well, that's an interesting point of view. I will look into it because I'm very thorough.
Yeah.
So I appreciate, like, did I miss anything?
Right.
If you tell me stuff that's already like, well, I do already know that's a problem and I'm aware of it and it's like part of my stuff, I'm learning something and I get it and this is why. Then, I've done a TikTok. I've already checked that off. Like, yeah, I know that one. Okay, next. Yeah, I'm aware of that too. That one, that's a good point. I'll look into it. Okay, next one.
Yeah.
Yep, I already know it. So I appreciate that kind of thing, but most people don't.
Well, you're saying that you ask for it.
Yeah, I like feedback.
If you're asking for feedback, that's different than the unsolicited advice feedback.
Well, and I think, but though, if you are someone who enjoys learning and you intentionalize to become a person who wants to receive feedback, that then offers all of us the opportunity. If we all did that, then when you come to me, you feel more comfortable knowing, well, she's really open to feedback.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to feel like, you know what, I could totally tell her the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll receive it.
Yeah.
See, so that creates more of an opening if we concentrate on being more open to just critical thinking.
Mm-hmm. We're going to take a break, speaking of critical thinking, because it's that time. And then we'll be back. Aloha and welcome back. It is 3:36 on December 14th, 2023. You're listening to KNKR-LP 96.1 FM Kohala. I'm sorry if I played something and it played like 3 times. I didn't know that was happening, but on the public service announcement.
Thanks for bearing with us.
Yes, this is Intuitive Talk Story with EILA Allgood and
Michal Anna.
And we are happy to be here with you. And we were talking about truth and kindness. We started out with something earlier, if you're open to sharing a little bit more about cutting agreements.
Yes, and in regards to, I was talking about that in regards to AI and devices, computers, phones. So I'll expand on that. So when we are on the phone or device and back to that port, putting them in an orb of light, because it's a portal. You're opening up like a whole dimension. You get on there and boom. I mean, people have whole lives in there. People play games in there. They buy property in there. They do all sorts of things in there. So it's a whole world. And that is part of the issue, is that the AI timelines, the AI artificial world is taking over many minds and it's becoming their primary world. Like what's going on in there is more important or more primary to their real life. This concept was brought up to me many years ago, but I didn't realize the magnitude until now. Here we are, and it's like fast forward, and oh my gosh, what happened? How did we get here to where everything is going to this AI generated everything, from the computers to the actors to the songs to the this to this to that to that. But a girl had told me once, an old classmate I'd run into many years ago, had said to me, gosh, you do so much in RL. And I said, what's RL? And she said, real life. And I went, wow, there is a reality where they actually refer to real life as RL. I'd never heard of such a thing. And now you can really see that so many people are living in these AI-generated lives or timelines. Like, do you know who I am on Facebook? Or do you know who I am on the Instagram or on this thing? And people are living inside there. And our kids, my gosh, I've had opportunity to I've been a teacher of children for many years and had opportunity to be at lots of cool events and see tons of kids sitting on their phones when really cool things are happening. Mm-hmm. And they're all on their phones in the box instead of being present with real life. So we really have to make strides to create real experiences and to sever these agreements that we are making on these devices. So I kind of touched on it earlier that when we make these agreements, they can look like cords, wires, inputs into the body, because they're literally vibrationally, dimensionally. It's another dimension. You're not just a 3D being. You're really more of a 33 dimensional being. So you have all this dimensional layers going on. So in other dimensional frameworks, we're having experiences. So when we're sitting on that computer and typing, and then we go, oh, I got to get my password. I have to check the box, terms and agreements. As soon as I do that, I've just agreed to a whole slew of things I may not understand. There could be things in there that aren't for my highest good. So immediately we just like to take ownership. I'm not going to stop using my computer, right? So I'm going to take ownership of my energy field and say, as soon as I check that box, I get my password. Thank you. I now sever all agreements I made with this thing, with this whole deal, and I release them to the other side of the veil, called death, and sever them across all timelines now. And take a breath. Your breath is powerful. Breathing can always be impactful. Blowing, breathing. Use it. Pretend like you're a warrior, a superhero. However you see that, we're all superheroes. We are all the infinite. We're all life force energy. And so this is all about claiming our life force, biological, organic life energy, and kind of the whole transhuman movement, which you see Elon Musk and pairing with neural connectors and satellites in the sky and all these things that are happening. I'm not saying they're negative, or I'm not having a judgment on it. I'm just saying, do we understand these technologies to the degree that we're deploying them, and do we know the effects upon ourselves? And so it's of utmost importance that we take real note of what's going on so we can learn, be protected, and field our energies so that we stay organic biological humans.
Well, and to that awareness, I think with anything that we're doing, the more awareness we bring to it. So maybe I don't know the actual impacts of using my cell phone or having it here or having it there, but I can make myself more aware and learn about it and research what I need to research to know logically more about it, but also get in touch intuitively. What do you feel when you're been on the computer for 2 hours? Do you feel like you've been sucked into the portal of the internet? Maybe. So that's a good time to do the cutting of cords.
Yeah. And also our food, which I'm going to bring up too, because it just popped in like, ooh, if you're going to talk about this at all, we need to mention the food too, because there's a lot of chemicals and compounds, and really these things that are not serving are really found in the molecular structures. It's in the chemicals. It's in all of those things lower the vibratory frequency. So if we're eating, red number 40, that's not going to create a real great environment for light, love, and expansion in this vessel. So this is my house. This is my spaceship. This is my car, my vehicle, however you want to think of it. And you want this thing to run like a Lamborghini, like a Jaguar. You don't want to live in a jalopy. You don't want to live in a Pinto. You don't want to live, So it's like, what kind of vehicle are you wanting? And that's how we have to treat it in order to run the light that is within us and maintain our energy and be, feeling good, alive. We have to feed our bodies real nutrition, real life force, prana, and be aware of what we're agreeing to in all facets of our life.
And I want to say, the past 2 weeks I changed up my eating, and I was just doing a lot of snacking, eating too much bread for quite a while, and noticed that it was preoccupying my mind. And my body wasn't feeling as good as it could be or as good as it has been. And within 3 days of taking out, I wasn't eating sugar, but taking out flour and not snacking on healthy or not healthy, it doesn't matter for me. It's mental. It uses up mental power for me. So to take that out after just a few days, eating a lot of whole foods, fruits and vegetables, protein, and making sure I'm drinking enough water, my mind just started to clear up, and I started to feel that freedom that I get from doing that. So all those things are out there that can be very tempting. You know, you go into the store to get your oatmeal and you have to pass these other things along the way. I've learned to look at the ceiling more than I used to when I go to the food store. If I'm feeling like vulnerable, I'm just going to look up at the ceiling because there's nothing up there that I'm going to eat. So finding strategies to navigate, because food is part of our day, usually 3 times a day. I mean, food is part of our life. It's not like smoking, where you can give it up and you never have to look at a pack of cigarettes.
Right, you still got to eat.
You still got to eat. And if you have family and you feed each other, then you have to negotiate that all the time.
So this is where we us out here in Kohala again encourage us all to, you know, plant more food, grow stuff for ourselves and friends, family, share. And also, you know, we have the Kohala Food Hub and we have, you know, Hip Ag and we've got
we have the farmers markets.
We have the farmers markets,
right. And the grocery stores do their best to bring in
Kohala
some
Grown
local and
a great
organic.
Job.
Yes. So yes, we have lots here, and maybe you're listening from some other part of the world. Seek it out, find it, find where you can do it.
Support local farms, support local organic food. The more we eat locally and we support our local communities on that scale, you know, obviously the better time we're going to have in sustaining real healthy food sources.
Right.
And so I really suggest staying out of, you know, kind of it's like the center of the big grocery store. Almost everything in there is in a box and it's got a whole bunch of stuff in there you really don't want in your body.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we take it back to real food. You get beans, rice, vegetables, fruit, some oil, butter, you know, bread, whatever you need. And then just keep it simple. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so where are we going to go next? It's 3:45. It's December 14th.
Well, you know, it is. And, you know, and we were talking about that kindness and truth and about really stepping in our truth. And I think all the things we're talking about is about living in an authentic truth and really living in empowerment and navigating your energetic field. So the more you understand about what's going on and what we're living in, like the world has changed. It's not the same place that we lived in 5 years ago. And we all have to adapt and learn what's going on, become aware and embody more awareness, especially if you're on the path of choosing unity. You know, we've just gone through a whole nother bifurcation and a whole nother onset of, there are many who will be experiencing a lot of maybe very intense realities. If you're either choosing unity and dealing with yourself, or you're really not, and you're creating a lot more trauma. So we're seeing both happen real vividly. And so wherever you are on that spectrum, we have the choice to make a different choice or to continue upon the path of unity and really choose to be part of the solution, which is really all of us shedding what is no longer needed, choosing to forgive one another, to move into forgiving and forgetting, let go of our fragments, and come into wholeness, where we can sit at the round table. We can really move in as community, as individuals who aren't taking things personal, but are really, you know, it's about the betterment and the whole. It's about that concept out there, not about whether I'm enough or worthy, because I already know I'm enough and I know I'm worthy. So that's really the goal, is why I do all this, so that we can be in awareness, harmony, and really create the life we are wanting. We can really help support one another. We are not an island, you know, no man is an island. We do have the capacity to work together, and all of the thoughts that have planted through time that we were separate are false, period. You know, it doesn't matter what color we are. It doesn't matter from what background we come from. We are all angelic humans. We are all divine Christ beings of light, of infinite wisdom, and have the capacity to have a relationship to source, a relationship to beloved God, to Christ energy, to wisdom, however you want to say that, unity, Allah. I mean, there's a million ways that you can express your devotion to the one, or a million names you can use, and it is personal to you, and with utmost respect to whatever it is you believe in your faith. And know that it's really just about us letting go. That's really ultimate. We let go and come into that infinite La 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 ah, which is what it all is, the infinite awe, the vibration of the absolute.
As you were talking about forgive, I feel at this time of the year, it's Christmas, it's Hanukkah, it's different holidays, and it's the solstice. And I would like to think of it as a season of forgiveness.
Yes.
People are more
Healing.
forgiving this time of year. And so if we're more conscious of that, about forgiving and moving forward and that unconditional love, loving people where they are, then we can take it and create the vision we want of a future where that's part of our everyday. And it continues to build and grow, rather than it's just, be nice, it's the holidays,
Well, and I want to add into that, because what just popped in, that came in through some conversations this week, is the energy of consumption. So let's also do our best to move out of consumption, especially those of us on the islands, right? Our recycling systems aren't in place. There are so many things not in place, and we are consuming. And so less consumption is great. And the spirit of giving is not formed in this consumer model that we've been given of buy everything from Walmart and how much, plastic can you create and purchase. Instead, I encourage all of us, especially if you're feeling, not even if you're feeling strapped with finances, but if you are, it's a great option too. But even if you're not, it's a way to show your love and care is to make something, bake something, share a dish with someone, give somebody, clothing that is special to us that we keep. I have beautiful things, like giving somebody something that's really beautiful to me means a lot to me, actually, because I've had that. It's beautiful. I have a lot of mana. It's a special thing. So giving of as many ways we can give to one another that doesn't include money. We can give a hand, advice. We can give a coupon for me to come over and do some yard work. We can give each other in many ways. And I encourage us to find more ways to give, as many systems are shifting out there. And we get to really form more ways to barter and give to one another and create systems of support. So this holiday season, may we all incorporate just a little bit more giving, a little another aspect of holiday of support for one another in some capacity.
That brings up a story.
Oh, I love stories.
I was at a grocery store recently, and there was a gentleman in front of me who was very older, and his body clearly was having a hard day. And he had a big order of food, and he was with some younger person was with him, obviously helping. I never saw them. I didn't know who they were. And I had a couple of things to get. And he was fumbling through all his stuff, and he goes to charge it and doesn't charge. And he tries it 3 times, and then he used a different card and tried that twice. And the woman says, "We'll go to the bank and we'll figure out what the problem is. We'll have to come back for your groceries." And I said to the woman, I'll buy his groceries. And the level of, I get goosebumps, the level of gratitude I got from that experience was unlike anything I've ever experienced. And when just talking about it, I'm so grateful that I could do that, that he would let me do that, that it just happened. It just was another way for me to see how giving, just giving in the moment, that inspirational kind of intuitive kindness, how it gives us so much. We're helping someone else, and we're all in this together. So it's
so
not
much so much.
Yeah, it was just
it's really beautiful. And it's true, small things make such impact. Big things, that's a big thing and a small thing, and it's because you could, how beautiful. And the things when we can, if can, right? If no can, no can. But if can, can.
I said to the checkout person, I said, he looks like he's having a pretty rough day today, and I'm having a really good day today. So, let's share.
Let's balance it out.
Let's share.
That's right.
Because there have been days that maybe I didn't look exactly like him, but I sure felt like him.
Right.
So,
And it's amazing what you can do to bless people and to make them feel enlivened. And so, let us all be a blessing this holiday season in some form, and know that you can give in so many ways. You can give smiles, you can give an extra word of support. And, we can all, the more we give, the more we receive, because it's this flow of letting go. Right? Like, I don't have to hold on to anything because it's infinite. It's an infinite field of abundance, of love, of joy, of prosperity, of kindness, of truth, that I can be in my power. I can speak my heart, because it is what it is. I'm just being and following my divine guidance. I'm being in my truth. So as each of us stands in our truth and allows ourselves the freedom, the permission to follow it, to speak it, to listen to it, and to honor one another and go, you know what? I know your opinion's going to be different from mine, EILA. Tell me, what do you think? I know she's not going to think what I think. And that's fabulous. And I embrace it. And I'm excited about it, because we get to share and learn from each other. And not take it personal. She might say something, I'm like, well, I don't agree at all. And I'm not going to do anything you just said. And that's okay too. But I appreciate your opinion, and that's cool. That's what you think.
Well, sometimes when you hear something opposite of what you're feeling, it just confirms your own truth.
Yeah, it might just make it feel better for myself. And now I really know.
Now I really know that.
Thanks for telling me.
Yeah. Thanks for showing me that that's not what I want to be doing, or that is what I want to be doing,
It's all about our perspective.
Yeah.
And if we are in our power, then what EILA tells me isn't going to change. It's just going to add to my inquiry, because I'm in my power. So she can say whatever she wants, and I'm just going to use it as a reflection and reflect it into my own inner inquiry. It can't divert me from my own path, because there's no hole for it to do so. See? And that's what we're...
Well, that's so interesting that you bring that up, because I feel there's been times in my life where I was swayed by somebody stronger, with a stronger opinion or a stronger position on something. And I don't do that anymore. And if somebody out there is listening and they do that, it's really becoming aware that you do it. It's like, well, she has a louder voice, or she knows better than me. She knows what's good for me more than I know what's good for me.
And nobody knows better for
nobody.
you. Yeah.
So just listen. You can hear it, and then you go check in with yourself. We check in with ourselves and say, I resonate with what she said, to a point, whatever it is.
Always kind of dissecting what's yours and what somebody else's. Like, some of that's mine, but that part's not. Because none of us are exactly the same. We're going to feel resonances. Like, when you feel like, oh, yeah, me too. Oh, yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
But even though I'm feeling that, yeah, so do I, we're still totally different vessels. And how we both might love ice skating. But our experience of ice skating is still going to be our own. And, I grew up in one place, you grew up in another.
Yeah.
There's all these variables. So we get to share an experience or a feeling. And this brings me kind of back to this. We're all these orbs of infinite energy, and we're so unique because we're each a facet of God, as I was saying in the beginning. So different of a facet. It's kind of a miracle that we can connect at all and understand each other even a little bit. So if you look at it first from that viewpoint, and you just think these are all miraculous, it's all infinite God experiencing itself. And like when I get to touch and just experience a moment of the rainbow, we're really resonating this blue right now. Both of us are feeling the blue. I love ice skating, and so do you. We're both feeling it. That's such a miracle in and of itself. And we just are grateful for the experience of unity there, and the experience of sharedness, knowing that our uniqueness is inherent to that unity. That in our unification, it's inherent that we are unique because we're in this field here and now, where we're in two separate vessels. So we're absolutely unique and absolutely unified at the same time.
And that's a beautiful thing, and it's time for us to go.
Oh, and
my
so
goodness.
We wish all of you out there to be in your authentic self, to feel empowered, to stand in your truth, reaching for more wholeness, embodying the wholeness that I am in each and every moment, If you'd like to use any tools, if you'd like to learn more about these things, you can visit my YouTube channel, Michal Anna, Michal space ANNA. Lots of our Intuitive Talk Story episodes, as well as meditations and tools on spiritual growth, etc., peeling the layers. You can also find Intuitive Talk Story on Spotify.
Google and Apple Podcasts, yes, by typing in KNKR and Intuitive Talk Story, and they will come up.
Beautiful. Thank you, EILA. It's been a
thank you,
pleasure.
love. That was beautiful. And thank you all for listening. And until next time, lots of love out there to everybody.
Aloha.
Aloha.